talking to you about pumping tips and hacks for our Confessions of a Working Mom series. First tip that I can't stress enough when pumping at work is how uncomfortable it might be to completely disrobe in order to pump. So one of my big tips is to get this pumping bra. So this pumping bra clips onto your nursing bra. So if you are still nursing and you're wearing those bras all the time, these fit most bra clips. And if they don't fit perfectly, then you can just kind of finagle it so it's not too bad. But this just wraps around you so you don't have to take off your bra. And you don't even necessarily have to take off your shirt if you're able to like pull your shirt down or pull it up. So it clips like a regular bra, and then it clips onto your nursing bra that you're already wearing. Your phalanges go in here, and this saved so much time instead of having to put on a whole new completely different bra. It's just able to snap down, put this on, and we were good to go. Another thing that helped significantly when pumping at work was to, once you're done pumping, you pump into a bottle, either this one or if you have a Spectra, which is what I do, you pump into the bottle and then you transfer it right away into these bags. I used to wait till I got home to transfer them into the bags, and it was just such a waste of time because I already had the milk out. So what took 2 seconds to transfer it into a bag, label the bag, put the bag into your cooler and into the fridge. So this was a huge time saver instead of leaving the bottles in the bag, or in the milk in the bottles and then putting the bottles into the cooler, putting them into the bag. Not to mention, it took up a lot less space. Now, with that said, I did have the Medela cooler. I put my name on the front, and the cooler has the ice pack that allows you to fit bottles into it, just like that. So that is part of the reason I did keep the milk in the bottles, because I thought that it would be better that way. But no, it just took up so much more room and so much time. So what I would do, I'd put this in the freezer at work. And at my job, it's amazing. We have our very own pumping room. We are mainly a department of women, so there are a lot of women pushing out kids. So we have a specific fridge for that room that only breast milk goes into. So I was able to fit this into the fridge and this into the freezer. If you do not have that luxury, I would definitely put this in a Ziploc bag and then put it into the freezer. You don't know what your coworkers put into the freezer. And then I would also put this in your fridge to make sure that your milk stays separate from the food that's in your coworker's fridge. So I would just put the milk at the bottom. I wouldn't freeze the milk at work just because I didn't feel like there was enough time for it to completely freeze before I would leave for the day. So I just keep it in the fridge. I put the bag at the bottom, or all the bags at the bottom, and then just lay the ice pack on top. And then that kept everything nice and cold. There was a mama that used to put an ice pack at the bottom and then put ice packs at the top, but I only live about 10 miles away from my job, so I didn't feel like I needed to do that necessarily. Now, after pumping at work and coming home, a great addition to your fridge is this Medela storage solutions. This keeps your milk separate from your regular food in the fridge. So bags go right in here. I would fill this up with the day's worth of milk, and my husband, my mother-in-law, my mom, whoever was taking care of Dominic that day knew to go into here to get the milk. instead of going into my deep freezer. I found this to be significantly helpful because then it has a little arrow, so there's an in arrow and an out arrow, so they would always grab from here. So I was able to put the oldest milk here, and then whatever milk I pumped the day before I could put here. And they just grabbed it out, so my milk was constantly being rotated. One thing that I did find when I was in the process of getting back into work and getting everything figured out was, how do I separate the milks out? Like, how do I figure out what milk I should be feeding Dominic? Because I could either be feeding him the milk that I pumped yesterday, but then all the older milk that I had pumped while I was on maternity leave would just sit there. But then how would he get the nutrition that he needs? Because it would be different from what he got when he was younger. So what my theory was, and I'm not a doctor, this is what worked for our family. In the morning, he would get a bottle from the older milk. And then in the afternoon, for his afternoon bottle, he would get a bottle that I pumped the day before. So my theory with that was the older milk had a lot more calories. So we gave that to him in the morning right when he was waking up, so then he had the rest of the day to burn those calories. And then the milk that I pumped the day before, I technically wouldn't put it into a bag. I know that's kind of reverse thinking of what I just said, but I would keep one bottle full. So then I didn't have to waste a bag because these are a little expensive. I would keep one bottle full because that's what he would get in the afternoon. And then that way he was getting the nutrition that he needed for his growth. Because your milk changes over time, and however old your baby is, your milk changes. If he's sick, your milk changes. If you're sick, your milk changes to give him the antibodies so then he doesn't get sick if you are sick. So if I was sick, I would only give him the milk that I pumped the day before. If he was sick, same thing, because I knew that the antibodies were different. But in the morning, he would get an older milk, and then in the afternoon, he would get a new milk. Now, with that said, Thursday was my last day, or no, Tuesday was my last day of work, and then I went back on Sunday. So Tuesday, I would just freeze all of my milk that I had. And then Sunday, he'd get frozen milk from Tuesdays, and he would also get frozen milk from when I was first pumping. If that makes sense. I really hope that makes sense, because that was the best situation that we could figure out. And then I was able to use up all my old milk, and it didn't ever expire, because I've heard of mamas that pumped all this milk and then they didn't know how to rotate it, so then it would just sit there and it would expire within 6 months. If you do have a deep freezer, it does last up to a year. But if you just have a regular freezer, then that is only a 6-month lifespan. My last tip, and probably the best one that was for me, was when I went back to work, I got a new pump bag. And that just made going back to work a little bit more fun, and helped me not dread it as much. I hope these tips helped you,